Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The student will continue our lecture that is about domain and range. In previous video we discussed how to find the domain and range and what are the main points to keep in mind when finding the domain and range. Now we continue the lecture continue our lecture. Now the next question is question number 3, exercise 1.2, part number 4. The function is f of x minus 1 x minus 5 whole square. Let us simplify it little bit. X square plus 25 minus 10x. It is an algebraic function and it is called quadratic function as its highest power is 2. First we are going to find its domain. Now if there is no restriction, then you can put any value from this number line, any value, because there is no denominator in it involved and there is no radical expression, so there is no restriction on our domain values. But here is the condition is given, that is x is greater than or equal to 5. So you have to follow this condition. The condition said that your domain will be 5 or greater than 5 values, yani x can take values 5, 6, 7, 8 or in between, you can put any value. So domain of function will be f of x equal to 5 up to plus infinity. Plus infinity is exclude, as I told you earlier. 5 is include, plus infinity is include. Your domain will be 5 and onwards, और infinity से पहले कोई भी value हो सकती है. Now range, as you find the domain in this interval, now your range will be, for range you put the value 5, the minimum value you can put in this function for domain value, that is 5. When you put 5, you will get the value 5 square plus 25 minus 10 into 5. The answer will be 0. So your minimum value of domain is 0, or if you put infinity you will get infinity. As I mentioned earlier, the infinity is exclude. Now in exercise 1.2 there is an additional question, that is find domain and range of inverse function without calculating the inverse. So in that case you have to do the just one step, that is you will write domain of inverse function is equal to 0 plus infinity, and range of inverse function 5 plus infinity. Now what you have to do in order to find the domain and range of inverse function, just interchange the domain and range of given function. First find domain and range, yani their interval. First you find their interval and just you have to do what? You just interchange the domain and range. When you interchange the domain and range, you will get the required result, that is range becomes domain of inverse function and range of inverse function become domain of inverse function and domain of inverse function become range of inverse function. Now this is question number first part of question 3, exercise 1.2. Now look at it is a radical function as there involve a square root. So in radical function you keep in mind that your expression, whatever you value put in the radical, inside radical, the expression value should be greater than or equal to 0. For example, if some student put here minus 2, the result is minus 2 plus 2, 0, acceptable, no issue. If you put minus 1, the result is minus 1 plus 2, the result is 1, acceptable. But if you put minus 3 plus 2, result is minus under root 1, that is iota. Now this value is not acceptable. Keep in mind, whenever you are finding domain and range, you can choose such domain for which the value is positive real number. Okay, positive real number. It should not be a complex number. And similarly, if you carry on minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, yani below minus 2, you will see that your result will be complex number. That is not required. So what we have to do here, we will choose those values for which the radical expression give the positive value, for which here you follow the steps. What is the condition? for real values, the radical defined for the values, that is for which x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. Now x plus 2, x is greater than equal to minus 2. Now these are the values you can choose as domain, that is minus 2 or greater than minus 2. You can check it by yourself. When you put minus 2, when you put minus 1, 0, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, yani minus 2 से greater values, so you can see the final result is a positive real number. That is acceptable. That is our required condition. What you have to avoid in radical function, that the value of the expression should not be negative value. In case negative value, you will get the range as complex number, which is not required. So here you can choose domain from minus 2 to greater than minus 2, any value. So the domain will be, domain of the function will be, domain of fx is minus 2 up to plus infinity, any value, that is minus 2 up to plus infinity. You can choose any value as domain. Now what will be the range in this case? That is very much understandable, that your range always positive, okay? So there is no chance of any negative value. So you can put minus 2 in this expression. The minimum value is minus 2. When you put minus 2, you will get minus 2 plus 2, 0 as minimum value of the range. That is 0 include, because minus 2 is include, and up to plus infinity. And you can write it as well, a real number, all real numbers, that is positive real number, union 0. You can write the answer as well, like that. Now as I told you in exercise 1.2, in domain and range, you have to find the inverse functions domain and range as well without solution. So what will you do? As I told you in previous question, you will do just interchange the domain and range. You will write domain of inverse function is equal to 0 to plus infinity, and range of inverse function minus 2 to plus infinity. Just interchange the domain and range, and you will get the domain and range of inverse function.